Indonesia, with a population of 270 million, not one of the wealthiest countries, has just redefined what it means to truly flourish. How did it rise to the very top of the world's well-being index?
And today is May 14th, 2025. Let's jump into these findings because they really are unexpected. Indonesia now leads globally in human flourishing, according to the Global Flourishing Study. But this isn't only about happiness, right? It's broader, touching on relationships, purpose, satisfaction with life.
That's right. And it's not a minor study. We're talking over 200,000 participants across 22 countries. That's about 64% of the world's population represented. But here's what's striking. Indonesia's rank isn't driven by high GDP or lots of material wealth.
So if it's not economic strength, what's fueling this? What makes Indonesia stand out here?
The study highlights cultural and social dynamics. Indonesia's practice of gotong royong, mutual cooperation, is central. It's not just an idea, it's woven into daily life. People regularly come together to solve problems, support neighbors, and build trust. That collective sense of purpose seems to boost their well-being scores significantly.
So that everyday cooperation, those bonds, they're making the difference. Are we seeing something similar in other countries near the top?
We are. The Philippines, which ranked third, has Bayanihan, a similar approach to community unity. Mexico, in second place, leans heavily on family ties and community involvement, often through religious traditions. There's a pattern. The countries scoring highest have strong social fabrics.
So this actually turns the usual assumption on its head that well-being is tied to wealth. The study even found that flourishing tends to dip a bit as GDP per capita goes up. How do we make sense of that?
The researchers suggest that in wealthier, more individualistic societies, people can lose those close social ties. The United States is a good example. It's an economic powerhouse, but only ranks 12th. There's more material comfort, but less of that communal engagement.
So, is it fair to say that economic progress might actually chip away at social cohesion?
In some respects, yes. The data suggests that as societies chase economic growth, the social bonds that support well-being can weaken. It's not a strict either-or, but there's a clear tension between material advancement and relational health.
Then, if GDP alone isn't the best way to measure a country's success, what does this mean for those making policy?
The main message is to widen the lens. The study urges governments to track more than just income or employment. Think mental health, social connection, sense of purpose.
And how could that look in the real world?
Policymakers might set up regular well-being assessments, similar to the Global Flourishing Study, to catch early signs of loneliness or mental health concerns. They could create programs that nurture community ties, especially for younger people facing rising mental health challenges.
Is this kind of model transferable? Could we see Indonesia's approach being tried in places like the US or Europe?
There are cultural hurdles, but some aspects are adaptable. Encouraging community-based initiatives, supporting local organizations, religious, civic, or otherwise, and designing spaces where people can find belonging could help.
The study is set to run another 5 years, collecting more data. Do you expect the rankings to shift as countries respond?
It's possible. As countries take these findings seriously, we might see them rethinking community structures and how they define progress. It could change what success looks like on a national level.
So, bottom line, Indonesia leads in flourishing due to strong community values, not economic wealth. The study questions whether GDP is the top marker of national success and argues that investing in social infrastructure could be just as critical as material growth.
Thanks for joining us as we explored how Indonesia set a new standard for well-being. If this has you rethinking what it means to flourish, you're definitely not alone.
That wraps it up for today. Thanks for listening. Remember, sometimes the most fulfilling lives are grounded in connection, not currency.